Welcome to the Business of Inner Peace podcast. I'm your host, Erin Jean. And today we're diving into something that's close to my heart, which is creating a life you absolutely love. But before we get started, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever accomplished something you were dreaming of only to get there and feel disappointed? If you're nodding your head, you're not alone. I've been there too. And today I want to share with you why this happens and how we can change it. Welcome to the Business of Inner Peace. I'm your host, Erin Jean, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's pretend we're sitting in my living room enjoying a cup of coffee or tea and getting to know each other just a little better. That's what I love. I love getting to hear your story. I love feeling connected by the spirit of understanding that our stories bring. Today, I'm sharing some of my story, but I hope someday soon you'll be telling me yours. Listen, I know that you're feeling overwhelmed with life, and nothing is exactly how you'd like it to be. Your marriage is not what you hoped for. Motherhood is harder than you imagined, and you've lost yourself somewhere in the mix of responsibilities. Well, if you're ready to bring some more peace and joy into your life, reconnect with God who made you, and start living a life you love, then grab your cup of coffee or tea and let's dive into today's show. So I just asked the question, have you ever accomplished something you were dreaming of only to get there and feel disappointed? With women especially, I've seen this a lot in motherhood or marriage. I'm sure it's true for men too, but obviously my experience as a woman is what helps me shape my perspective. Um, as a little girl, many of us dreamed of being a mom and a wife one day. We might have even played like make believe all the time, like playing house. I've actually shared a story here before of marrying Jeremiah McKay in the second grade. I mean, we got detailed on that. We had flowers, we had groomsmen and bridesmaids. Truthfully, I kind of marvel still that the boys went along with all of it. That's kind of amazing, right? Anyhow, when I fast forwarded to my real life, I found marriage to be painful and disappointing until I changed all of that. I don't feel that way anymore, but looking back, it wasn't at all what I imagined. And I'm just wondering if you can relate to that. If you've worked really hard to achieve a goal or a dream, and then you're in it, and then the reality isn't quite what you thought it was going to be. Well, here's the reason why. You see, we were made to create. We were made in God's image, and He's the ultimate creator. I want you to think about all of nature. In all of nature, we are the only thing that God has made, the only living thing that God has made that can create for the sake of beauty, joy, inspiration, right? There's things that animals can create, like homes and their habitat, that sort of a thing. Like a beaver can create a dam. But the purpose of the beaver's creation is for survival. The purpose of the things that we create can be for survival, but it's certainly not always for survival, right? So, why do you sometimes, you know, feel unfulfilled even when we achieve our dreams? And I really believe that this happens because somewhere along the way to the dream, or even once you've accomplished the dream, we stop creating and we start living by default rather than design. We get caught up in the day to day hustle, forgetting the joy of intentional creation. If you notice, everything that God has made, everything in nature, it continues to grow. It continues on a cycle, right? There's all of these seasons. Plants have cycles, animals have cycles, we have cycles. And what that's showing me is that we are to be growing. We are to have a growth mindset. We are to be ever focused on creating and living life, living each day to its full rather than just living in default of whatever's happening. Does that make sense? So, I really want to help you tap into joy, that joy of intentional creation. And my sister and I, we actually have a company that's called Soul Sisters. And that's what we do. We help women create a life by design. We actually have a proven, repeatable system that we teach to help you create a life you absolutely love. And today, I want to give you a taste of that system and invite you to join us on this incredible journey. So, first, I want to share a personal story with you. When I was a little girl, I think I've mentioned this before. I grew up in the mountains. I grew up in the forest, right? And I got lost. I kind of always marvel at this story because it seems so crazy to me. In fact, I went and asked my parents about it because, sometimes little kids can remember things not exactly correct. We have our own version of the story. So I wanted to check it with her. And she actually was like, yep, that's exactly what happened. So I was about 4 or 5. And the rule was kind of like I was allowed to go outside and play in the woods. I just had to be close enough that I could hear my parents call me. And this whole story is so weird to me because for whatever reason on this particular day, I had my 2 dogs with me. Hezi, his full name was Hezekiah, just so you know, but we call them Hezi, and Jenny. And it seems odd to me that they were even with me as I think back on it because usually they were like in the backyard, which was fenced. So they were with me, and I'm assuming this was by God's design. And we were just out in the forest and we were just walking around. Again, I'm only 4 or 5. I don't think we lived at the house that we were in for really that long. And the fact that I'm out alone by myself seems odd, anyways, to me now as a mom. But hey, it was a different time. I ended up somehow crossing a pretty major road. Our house was on a busy street, but we had a driveway that like went down toward, you know, the hillside and away from the street. So usually I was never up by the street. For some reason, somehow, my dogs and I crossed this busy street. We went up the next hill and up to the very next street, which is it's pretty far away. These are like mountain roads. So it's not like a block or a. There's no pattern, curvy mountain roads. I'm pretty far away at this point. And I remember beginning to realize that I was lost. But I don't remember feeling super scared or panicked. I just kind of kept walking with my dogs, just putting one foot in front of the other. And eventually I saw a house and I just decided that the best thing would be to go and knock on the door of that house. And so I knock on the door. A very nice lady answered. I explained to her, with my 2 dogs by my side, that I'm lost and I can't find my home. So she said, okay, I'll help you. She loads me and the 2 dogs up in her car. And I didn't even know like our address. I didn't know the name of the street, nothing. I was really pretty young. Starts driving us around. And I just remember the dogs by my side. I'm in the back seat. My little face is pressed up against the glass and I'm studying every single house as we drive by. She's driving slow. And I'm literally just looking for our house to be able to tell her when to stop. Well, eventually, I'm sure you guessed, I spotted our house. So she was really kind. She unloaded me and the dogs and walked us to the door and, talked to my mom and explained the situation, and everything was fine. Right. And it's kind of crazy. So I'm just, first of all, thank you, God. Clearly, you were watching over me. But here's the thing that I want you to notice about my story. You might be like, what the heck, Erin? What's the point of all of this? I did not stop and sulk and sit in the forest and cry. I didn't get stuck in the being lost mode. And sometimes I notice this is what we can tend to do in life. I definitely did it in my marriage. I got stuck in that it's not working. I'm miserable. This is not what I thought it would be mode. Rather than, being stuck, I just kept putting one foot in front of the other. And you know what happened? God provided exactly what I needed. He gave me companions on that journey, right? My dogs. My dogs were with me. They supported me. They might have even been guiding me. I have no idea, right? It was really a weird situation. I can't remember any other time in my growing up when my dogs were like with me out in the forest. So that fact alone already shows me that God was involved. He provided resources that helped me grow and can learn and get to safety, if that makes any sense, right? He provided me a resource that it was there in front of me, but I had to grow. I had to stretch myself and do something, right? Can you imagine a little child like that? It takes bravery to knock on a door of someone you don't know. Of course, I didn't understand at that point in my life all the potential bad things that could happen. So I wasn't battling any fear, which we tend to do as adults, right? Because we know all the possible outcomes that could happen when we make a bold move like that. So I had that going for me, but I still had to grow and stretch and be willing to take a chance on that resource that was in front of me, right? And I learned that there was someone that could trust me, or that I could trust rather. And then I had to be willing to go with her. And I had to be willing to be active on the journey with her in the car, right? I had to be actively looking out the window and giving her feedback. And this is just a beautiful metaphor for what you need to do, for what is required to actually live life by design rather than default. You have to be brave. You have to be courageous. You have to take a chance on a resource that you don't really know how it's going to turn out, right? You don't even know if it's the perfect answer. You have to be active in the process, constantly, you know, getting feedback, being aware of what's going on. You can't just live day to day. You can't live by default. And so looking back, I can see how every step of my journey was divinely orchestrated. It kept me safe. And I just think it's such a beautiful metaphor for when you want to create a life you absolutely love, it requires all of these elements. And maybe if you're here listening to this, if you can relate to any of this, God has put you in the right place at the right time in front of the perfect resource to get you unlost. I don't even know if that's really a word, but that's where I was, right? I was lost, and that resource helped me get unlost, helped me get found. Um, so if any of this is resonating, maybe it's time to get out of the day to day survival mode and into thriving. And at Soul Sisters, this is what we do. We want to be that companion for you. We want to be my dogs. My dogs in the story, right? But we also want to be the lady. We want to help provide the resource and the support that you need to get where you want to go. just like God did for me. And we know that He'll do it for you because we don't do anything without keeping God in the center of it. We're always inviting God to be in the center of everything we do here at Soul Sisters. And it's our desire to guide and support you on your journey to creating a life you love. So, this is why we've created our 12-week program. It is called the Dreamcatcher Collective. If you've been listening for a long time, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it before. It's an ongoing program where women can join anytime, and the purpose is to offer you weekly support as you learn these life changing principles and you put them into action. In the Dreamcatcher Collective, we dive deep into our proven system and we help you identify your dreams, connect with your purpose, and construct the life you've always wanted. It's not just about dreaming, it's about doing with support every step of the way. And if you're anything like me, if you actually have something you really want to accomplish, you need someone by your side to keep you accountable, to keep you in the action of doing, because it's so easy to kind of go stagnant, honestly. So, I want to share something fascinating with you about the power of your environment and your perspective and even your energy. So, there was a study done where they put older people in this authentic environment that matched the style of their youth down to every detail. So essentially, it was like bringing some older people into the 50s or 60s. The carpet was the right carpet, the linoleum, linoleum floor in the kitchen, the couches, the TV, the rotary phone, the music that was playing on the record player, the magazines that were out on the coffee table, the books that were on the bookshelves. Everything matched the time period of their youth. And you know what happened? These older people, the people that walked in with canes and walkers and back pain and all of their complaints, right? They started acting differently. They didn't need the assistive devices anymore. Suddenly, canes and walkers were put to the side. They were dancing and laughing. They felt younger. They felt more energetic and more capable. Their energy completely shifted. And what's cool about this is we saw the same thing happen at our last retreat in San Diego um, this past March. No, our attendees did not come in with canes and walkers. That's not quite what I mean. But when the woman stepped into the environment that we had designed for growth and transformation, amazing things happened just with the intention that we set out for that weekend. We actually do an exercise where we ask them to step into the version of the life that they are dreaming up. And when they do this, they come alive. They reconnect with their younger, more vibrant selves. They remember their dreams. They find this courage to pursue them. They're honestly full of joy and energy, and it's a really beautiful thing to behold. I've got goosebumps right now just remembering it. You can see in an instant body language, the brightness and joy in their faces, it all completely changes. And this is the power of an intentional environment and a new perspective. And I want you to know that it's available to you too. Because speaking of retreats, I'm thrilled to invite you to our upcoming Soul Sisters retreat that's happening in September. It's the 26th through the 28th in Northern California. And this is where the magic happens. So, over 3 days, we're going to guide you through our 3 step proven formula of creating, connecting, and constructing a life you love. Imagine just stepping away from your daily routine, surrounding yourself with like minded women, and immersing yourself in an environment designed for your growth and transformation. That is what our retreat offers. You're going to learn practical tools and spiritual practices that will help you overcome any challenge and turn your dreams into reality. And the best part, you'll be a part of supportive community of women who are on the same journey. Like there is nothing better than having sisters come alongside you in what you're doing, and especially like-minded sisters. So here's my invitation to you. If you're ready to stop living by default and start creating a life by design, come join us. Whether it's through our Dreamcatcher Collective or at our upcoming retreat, we are here to support you. So I want to invite you to visit our website. It's bit.ly/ the letter M like Mary, Soul Sisters. So bit.ly/M like Mary/Soul Sisters. And I'll also have that link in the show notes. You can learn more about the Dreamcatcher Collective and you can reserve your spot for our September retreat. So remember, you were made to create, to thrive, to live a life you absolutely love. And we are here to help you do just that. Thank you so much for listening today. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep creating, and remember, you're a soul sister capable of amazing things.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're feeling blessed by the content here, the number one way you can show me is by leaving me a written review of the show. I'd be forever grateful. Knowing that you're out there listening helps me know that I'm truly living out God's purpose in my life. The other thing you can do is take a screenshot of this episode, share it with a friend, or better yet, tag me on your Instagram stories. Remember, you are seen, known, and loved. May God richly bless you today. All my love, Erin Jean.